the basic structure and the basic idea behind it is obviously that you use the chickenness, or the, as Joel Salatin says, the chickenness, or the chicken behavior, to leverage that behavior into doing something good for the farm.
Howdy doodle 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 do. Howdy doodle 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 do.
Howdy everybody, I'm back with another video about the chicken house on steroids. Now you may notice that in the last video we only had 2 piles, now we have 4. And let me just pan around here so you can see them. That's because we had some technical difficulties that affected our publication routine, and we weren't able to continue publishing. But that didn't mean that the chicken house on steroids stopped just because we couldn't publish. We had to continue with the experiment. And so I'm showing you week 4 now. If you remember when we left off last time, we were at the end of week 2 and the beginning of week 3. And so we now have 4 piles, and it's pretty cool. And I have to tell you, this has really exceeded my expectations. Exceeded my wildest expectations. Thank you to Billy over at Permapastures Farm, who really encouraged people to do this. And I took up the banner and decided to try it, and it really has worked out very well. So in a few days we'll be at the end of week 4. This pile here will be ready. It'll be finished. And as you can see, let's get in here a little bit closer. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. That compost. It really is quite remarkable. And the chickens are still scratching at it. They like it, but it'll be ready at the end of this coming week. So I mentioned in the last video that I was going to go through step by step as to how this system works differently and similarly or analogously to the system that Billy over at Permapasture Farms developed from Jeff Lawton's system. Okay, so let's start out. Billy has a chicken tractor. Okay, so that's the main difference. This is a stationary chicken house. His is a tractor that moves. Okay, so that's the biggest difference between the two. And the experiment really was, can it be replicated? In other words, can you do this in a stationary place? Or do you have to have a wide open space in order to make it happen? And it turns out that you don't. If you make some adjustments to accommodate for things that are a little bit different. Now, one of them is that you don't actually have a chicken tractor. So what Billy does is he puts bedding in his chicken tractor. The chickens go in at night. they hang out, they go to sleep in there, and they do a lot of their pooping in there. And then he lets them out. There's a cage out in front, and that's where everything is happening. And that cage, he puts bedding from his bull and other bedding, and he puts kitchen scraps and scraps that he gets from different restaurants and what have you around there, in there also. Now an analogy to that is right here. You could see the chickens right here. That's the analogy to the to the closed-in area with a little fence that Billy has. The top here, what I have at the top, I built specifically because the chickens like to roost. And so I gave them a place to roost that was up high, and they love going up here. I have their nest boxes up here. I have to fill them up with some grass, but they love it up here. They poop up here. The poop falls down and goes into the bedding down here. So that's analogous to Billy's system. The rest of it is basically the same. At the end of a week, Billy takes the material out of his enclosed area and piles it up into a pile. This is the most recent pile right here. So that's what's going on. And then at the end of another week, he turns this pile, and it goes over into the next one and the next one. The main difference between what I'm doing here in a closed space and what Billy does in an open space is that he has a lot more room to work in. And there's a couple of other things that are advantageous for him. He's able to keep the chickens inside the chicken tractor until he's ready to let them out. Me, the chickens are always in here, and so I have to deal with them in here all the time, as opposed to being able to have them wait and then release them out to get the stuff. But it works. It works. And the compost is fantastic. And I really recommend other people to think about doing this as well. Because now, at the end of this week, you can see here they're picking through it. This is the oldest pile, and they're picking through it. At the end of this week, I'll be taking this pile out to use either in our in our greenhouse, because we have to build some beds in there, or I'm going to take it out and spread it around the fruit trees. At the end of another week, I'm going to have another pile that I can do that, and that's almost a cubic meter. Almost a cubic meter every single week. So that comes out to 52 cubic meters of compost a year. That's a huge amount. That's a huge amount for a small operation like this. And so I'm trying to improve the quality of the soil that we have. Also, I'm trying to make sure that our fruit trees and other plants are getting the nutrition that they need. And this, for me, is the best system. We're taking the chicken behavior, which is scratching, manuring, we're taking it, using it to our advantage. We're giving them a great environment to be in. They don't have to worry about predators in here. I mentioned that we have a big problem with many different types of predators. It isn't just one or two. It's many different types of predators, and that's why we had to build this structure in the first place. And so we have the chickens in here. They're happy. They have a good life. They're doing their job, and we benefit. because rather than just letting them hang out and do nothing, we give them a purpose. So that's it. So I'll be making more videos about this, but the basic structure and the basic idea behind it is obviously that you use the chickenness, or as Joel Salatin says, the chickenness, or the chicken behavior, to leverage that behavior into doing something good for the farm. And that's exactly what we're doing here. This is both a chicken house, but it's also a fertilizer factory. That's basic. And now with the price of fertilizer skyrocketing, of course I don't use fertilizer anyway, because it's not a good idea to be doing that. But with the price of things skyrocketing, this is, other than my own labor to do it, is free. Doesn't cost me anything. So that's a great thing too. So with that, if you find these videos to be useful or beneficial to you, please consider clicking the like button. That helps, obviously helps us. It also helps YouTube to identify which videos are popular with people. If you like the channel itself and would like to support it, please consider subscribing. Right now, that's the best way that you could support the channel, is to subscribe. So with that, I'll see you on the next video.